7.3 is causation versus correlation. You can read the objectives if you'd like, but today we are going to talk about those two things. So for the vocab, correlation is when two sets of data are strongly linked together. So the key thing here is they're only linked. Causation is when when a different set of data are strongly linked, but one causes the other event to happen. So they're both linked. The difference being causation is just like the word, one happens because of that reason. So, notes on determining if something is causation, because this can get a little tricky. If the cause is taken out, does the effect still occur? And then could there be any other causes that contribute to the effect? So that second one is actually the big one. So just looking at some examples, we're going to determine if it's causation or correlation, and then I'll give you a reason why potentially it's one versus the other. Okay. So number 1, Susie has a large brain size, which means she is more intelligent. So as much as we want to believe that the larger your brain, the smarter you are, one does not cause the other. Just having a large brain in your head genetically does not mean you're going to be smarter, but there's probably a link between it. So this would be correlation, not causation. A big brain does not cause you to be more intelligent. It could help, but it's not a guarantee. Okay. 2, someone's accidental decapitation resulted in death. So yes, that's a little dark. So if you cut someone's head off, are they basically guaranteed to die? You cutting off an appendage or a head or something like that, does that result in blood loss or, unfortunately, death? That would be yes. So this is causation. The next one, then people tend to be happier. Could be an opinion. Maybe to you think that's true, but that's not also necessarily always true. Just because you're thin does not mean you have a happier life. You could be very sad or, very, upset about things because whatever is going on in your life. So thin people, you can't make that assumption that they always tend to be happier. There is no cause and effect relationship there. So this is correlation. 4, you have to pay very close attention to the wording. 4 says people who smoke will also get lung cancer. So we all know people who have smoked and they get lung cancer, but there are also many people out there in the world who have smoked their entire lives and have never gotten lung cancer. So because it is a statement that says if you smoke, you're going to get it, it's not saying you're maybe going to get it or you're likely to get it. It says you will. That is not always true. So this is correlation. It's likely, but again, it's not a guarantee. The apple fell from the tree due to gravity. That would be causation. The apple falling hits the ground. The reason why that happens is absolutely because of gravity, so that's causation. There's a positive correlation between age and income. So as much as we like to believe that because you're older, you're guaranteed to make more money, that's not always true. It's ideal, obviously, but sometimes that won't always occur. So some people sure will make more money, but not everyone. So it's a correlation between your age and income. Lastly, there is a negative correlation between the distance you drive and the amount of gas in your tank. So if you drive your car, you burn the gas. So the miles driven causes you to have less gas in your tank. So that is a cause and effect relationship. So this would be causation. Okay, on the back, there's an article that we would have read in class, but there it is if you want to click on that later to read it. I just took out some statements, and we're going to just go through some possible answers here. All right, so it says regular breakfast eaters seemed more physically active than breakfast skippers. And so this is just an opinion. You can read the article, like I said, if you'd like. But breakfast eaters seem to be more physically active than non-breakfast. Now that one we could argue could go either way. So if you say correlation, I understand that. If you say causation, I could see that also, because the key words here is it says seems more physically active than breakfast skippers. But just because you eat breakfast does not mean that you're going to be the fastest one at gym class. You're not going to be the best player on the basketball team. So I would say this tends to be more of a correlation. But again, on a test or a quiz, you can justify your reasoning by giving some sort of response. So the biggie here is why. So to me, I think this is a correlation because there are plenty of breakfast skippers who are just as active. Now we know that eating breakfast in the morning, kickstarts your metabolism. It's supposed to make you more energized, but that might not always be the case for everyone. Some people drink coffee in the morning, some people just drink juice. Does juice qualify as breakfast? And then you kind of get in that gray area. Is there an underlying cause that could explain both events? So I just kind of went through that. So some people are just coffee drinkers in the morning. So coffee, that's going to give them energy. But that's not necessarily breakfast. So that's someone who skips breakfast but still would have energy and maybe be more physically active. Some people are just more physically active. Some people just prefer more activity. What else? And then we have breakfast eaters. Some people eat breakfast and they get tired after it because they get all full. And so they're kind of lazy and just want to, lay around or, something to that effect. So there's tons of different reasons that you can justify either or. And then, is this statement misleading? Again, this is up to you. Yes and no. I say it's probably misleading because it's not a guarantee. I don't even know if I'm going to spell this right. Guarantee. If you eat breakfast, you'll be more physically active. That would be nice, right? Because I'm sure a lot more of us would eat breakfast. So when you have causation, you basically need the definitive, yes, it's going to cause the other event. Okay, so part B. Teens who regularly ate breakfast tended to gain less weight and had a lower BMI than breakfast skippers. So is this correlation or causation, and why? So, if you eat breakfast, do you gain less weight? Is that a guarantee? If you eat breakfast, will you automatically have a lower BMI? This is not a guarantee. So again, it's a correlation. And I would justify it just kind of by restating it, but saying regularly eating breakfast doesn't cause low weight or BMI. Is there an underlying cause that could cause both events? So, reasons why people that eat breakfast or don't eat breakfast could gain less weight. Why would people not gain a lot of weight or have a low BMI? First thing I think of is maybe they just exercise. So if you skip breakfast versus not, maybe that's not even a factor. Maybe it's just you exercise daily. Genetics is clearly something that comes into play. Some people just have smaller frames, other people have larger frames, just based on their genetic DNA. There are people who eat breakfast every single day, but what if they have biscuits and gravy every day? What if they're having pancakes with syrup and chocolate chips, and then they have a side of a cinnamon roll with some banana bread? These are all situations where, sure, they're eating breakfast, but it's not like it's a healthy breakfast. So some people are having unhealthy meal choices. So again, just because this statement says, or this article says that, you really need to dig deeper and try to find the loopholes as to why potentially it is inaccurate. So is this statement misleading? Teens who regularly eat breakfast gain less weight, have lower BMI than people who skip it? Yeah, heck yeah, that's misleading. And you might be generally healthier if you eat breakfast, because doctors recommend that we do that. But again, you could be eating terrible for breakfast and you might have the opposite effect. So it's healthier to eat breakfast, but not necessary to lead to weight loss or BMI. Okay, so today, correlation versus causation, gosh, I can't talk, is it's a very gray area. The big thing is causation has to absolutely 100% cause something to occur. I'm trying to think of something that you would have that would cause. So you take scissors to your hair and cut it. Now you have shorter hair. You cutting your hair with scissors would cause you to have short hair. Shorter hair, I should say, because necessarily it wouldn't necessarily be short. It has to cause the other. Correlation, there's a link. It could be the craziest link ever, but there will be some sort of linkage there. And we'll talk more about this before we take a quiz so that we can go over this again. Your assignment is a 7.3 Canvas assignment, and it's just going to be a couple questions for you to fill in the text boxes, and again, justify all of your reasoning for why you think that. I will see you tomorrow.